So tonight I want to touch on 3 areas that will make you proud of Ontario again. First, a PC government will deliver a plan to govern that will give families real tax relief so they can get their own household budgets back in order. The reality is the tax burden forced upon family budgets by Premier McGuinty has been stifling. The latest crunch being the HST. From filling up your car with gas to heating your home to routine expenses like getting your hair cut, the HST has hit families hard. And it is absolutely clear that ordinary, hardworking families need some relief. One of the most important questions on haveyoursayontario.ca asks what kind of tax relief would best help you and your family. And in the months ahead, we will use that feedback to develop our comprehensive plan to govern, to move Ontario forward, a plan that will put families first, get government focused on the services that we care about and need, and make private sector job creation a priority. Which brings me to my next point. Friends, I believe the private sector should be the Ontario engine of job creation and economic growth, not bigger and bigger government. Now, I know there are probably a few of you here tonight that work in the home building business. Maybe 1 or 2. And no one knows better than you about Ontario families. You help them fulfill their dreams of home ownership, that Canadian dream of owning a home, each and every day. When more families have more resources and more confidence to move into a new home, the closer Ontario will be to returning to our proud spot as the leader in Canada. Over the last 7 years, Ontario's GDP has grown by a total of 9%. But government spending has gone up by a staggering 70%. And that kind of spending means that Dalton McGuinty is on course to single-handedly doubling Ontario's debt by 2012. Let me put that into perspective. It took 23 Ontario premiers 136 years to accumulate our first $148 billion in debt. And Dalton McGuinty will double that on his own because he just can't stop spending. Folks, I think you'll agree with me that the private sector simply cannot afford to support a bloated public sector any longer. And to help rein in spending, to get government focused on the basics families need most, I'm calling for a mandatory sunset review process that will force every government body to justify their existence and continued value to the public who pay the bills. And if they can't, they go. Another option I like, and I like your feedback as I go around the room later, has already worked for businesses in British Columbia, where they had a minister specifically responsible for reducing the paper burden on businesses. And every ministry and government was asked to count all of their regulatory requirements, and they set a target of a 33% reduction over 3 years. And because they had somebody who was actually accountable, and because it was measurable, they actually exceeded that goal. In fact, they reduced their overall red tape burden by over 40%. That helped small businesses create jobs again. It helped not-for-profits move worthy projects forward. It helped municipalities to get building again, and it's an approach that is sorely needed in Ontario today. And I also believe, in order to attract good jobs to Ontario and help build a strong private sector, energy policy should be treated as economic policy and not a social program. You've seen it on your bills. Because of this government's expensive energy experiments, Your rates have gone up by 75% to date. If you have one of those smart meter tax machines, 100%. And worse yet, we learned this past week the bills are going to go up 46% more. And that's unaffordable for families. And it also means for businesses across Ontario, they're going to be grappling with skyrocketing energy costs. And for many, it will mean the difference of staying in business or letting employees go, turning off the lights, and closing the doors for good. And that's why we must create a strong, reliable, and affordable energy plan that will put consumers first. And as a principal cost for many businesses, we simply cannot continue with a constant tinkering, toying, and experimenting with energy anymore. We need a change in direction when it comes to energy policy in the province of Ontario. And lastly, we need government to focus and invest in the services that people actually need and care about most, like frontline health care. While the McGuinty government continues to throw money, millions and millions of dollars at consultants and bloated bureaucracy, the PC government will direct those dollars to frontline health care first. Take, for example, these so-called local health integration networks, or the LHINs. LHINs are a $250 million new layer of bureaucracy between the Ministry of Health and frontline healthcare providers and the families they care for. LHINs don't provide a single minute of patient care. They don't do a single surgery. They don't do a single MRI. And that's why, as Premier, I will close the doors on the LHINs and put every penny into frontline health care for Ontario families instead. Friends, I believe, we all believe in the tremendous potential of Ontario, both in its land and its people. Just as my grandparents did when they came from then Czechoslovakia to Ontario prior to World War II. For them and countless other immigrants, Ontario always represented hope, and it represented opportunity. With your help and your continued support, Ontario can get by this embarrassment and once again be the envy of Confederation. Because I want Ontario to be the leader in our great country. I want my daughter Miller to have every opportunity I had to succeed and more. I want hardworking families that play by the rules to have a chance to get ahead. Friends, I want to deliver the change that families from Thornhill to Thunder Bay tell me that they sorely need. There is a better way for Ontario than the reckless course we're on now. It is not our destiny to be a have-not province, swimming in debt, higher taxes and red tape, where government does not serve those who pay the bills, where families struggle to make ends meet, where businesses cannot complete, and next October, a PC government will prove it. My friends, change is coming to Ontario 315 days from tonight. Thank you very much, and thank you for your generous support here this evening.